EV Revolution show is supported in part by Budget Safe Solar. If you are considering solar in most any part of North America, give my friends a call. They will take the time to listen to your specific situation and help you reach a decision about what's available to you and what makes the most sense. If you would like to join the growing solar industry, they'd like to speak with you. Go to www.budgetsafesolar.com to contact them. Well, hello and welcome to this edition of the EV Revolution Show. My name is Kenneth McCoy, your host, and I have yet another car review here. As you can see on this hot sunny day as I'm trying to film this episode, I have a 2023 Genesis GV60 Performance All-Wheel Drive EV CUV. So there's a lot of acronyms there. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this episode. I hope everything's going well, and I'm going to talk about this very fine car, brand new for this year, of course. So let me give thanks first to Genesis Canada for allowing me the use of this press vehicle. Always humbled by that. So let me get right into my thoughts. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first electric vehicle, all-electric vehicle from Genesis. You know, they've had a couple of concepts that they've come out with, but the GV60 is the first one. I will be getting another vehicle later this month, an electrified version of an existing sedan, but I'll get to that on another episode. So they've had a lot of creativity. The designers have had basically free rein to do whatever they want for this vehicle because it's not based on an existing platform. It's a brand new vehicle based actually on HMC Hyundai Motor Corp's eGMP platform. So it's their electrified platform that's available for the global markets, same as the Hyundai Ioniq 5, same as the Kia EV6, all shared platforms. So I've talked a lot about those vehicles and how well that platform performs and, fast charges and all that stuff. So this has a great platform to build a new dynamic design, as Genesis calls it. I love the looks. It does look like an athletic design. It's got a coupe-like profile. It's got these Genesis signature elements as well on it, with the front headlights being multiple rows, the rear tail lights being multiple rows. And it's really a beautiful looking car. I've had a few heads turn while I'm driving this thing around for the last couple of days as well. A couple of unique elements which I'll talk about later on. This crystal sphere, which a lot of people went nuts about when I was watching some South Korean videos when this car was available about 6 months ago there. For a review, everybody's going nuts about this crystal sphere. Well, I think it's nice, but it wouldn't make me buy a car. I'll tell you that. I could hang a disco ball from the ceiling for $5. But anyway, it is something unique and different. And I do like that Genesis is expanding their horizons, the design and the offerings for a consumer base. So as I mentioned, it is based on that eGMP platform. I'll talk about charging, I'll talk about all that stuff, but from a design, it does have a really nice kind of bulldogish kind of form, I guess. Kind of ready to get in, mix it up with stuff. It's got a decent enough wheelbase to give you good interior space, yet short enough to get you around city streets fairly easily and parking spots and all that stuff. I love the front of it. It really is an eye catcher with that big Genesis logo and some nice aerodynamic treatments all around. I do like the fact that it has the pop-up door handles. There is a key mechanism behind the door handle, so in the event of a power failure, you can push this in and use your key, which comes with your key fob. There is actually a manual key, a metal key that comes with that, so you can get access in the event of a power failure or some malfunctioning door handles. So I do like that. Fold-in mirrors. It's got this element that you could attach a roof rack to, cross members to, for bike racks or other things like that. You want to throw something on the top, you can. Built into it, so I do like that. Really nice design feature. It's just a gorgeous looking car. Let's have a look at the back. Continuing on looking at the back, now one of the features you'll see when you get to the 3/4 part is this Z lightning type mechanism. It's supposed to be, signifying that this is an electrified platform, so a little design element. I think it looks cool. Certainly you could black it out or color it up if you wanted to, but the chrome stands out, gives it a little pizzazz, a little movement when the car is not movement. It's got a nice high arc here for the rear. Then as you come around, you've got this rear spoiler. Again, HMC is sticking to the fact that they don't want to do rear wipers for their hatchbacks nowadays, so this is no exception. In line with the Ioniq 5 and the EV6. Has a big spoiler though, so we'll have to see how, once this gets into consumers and gets through winters and dirt and dirty areas and stuff, how well that wind blows off the dirt and grime to clear the window. It still remains to be seen, folks. I'm not a huge fan of not putting wipers on there. I think they are necessary, but obviously not all hatchbacks have them, and that goes back to decades, so I get it. So we'll have, the proof is in the pudding. Wouldn't stop me from buying this just because of that, though. Love the looks of this. Again, the signature Genesis rear system here with the lights, big logo, and then easy access to the hatch here with your backup lights and everything. Just a really nice sculptured design car, and I really like it. So let me talk about the powertrain. All right, as mentioned, Powertrain is that global platform. So this does have the same battery pack that's in the other variants of the HMC vehicles, the 77.4 kilowatt. In Canada, it only comes in one spec trim, the larger battery. I think in other countries it may be available in a 54 and a 77. You have to check your local listings. But I believe for North America, it's just the one battery size. Just two trims. You have your advanced all-wheel drive and your performance all-wheel drive. And this one is the performance because it has that boost button, which I'll talk about when we do our driving impressions later on. So it's got that great platform, a battery size for an EPA rated range of 399 kilometers for the advanced version, 378 for the performance, obviously drawing a bit more power on the performance, so your range drops. Now, when I fully charge this, I got over 400 kilometers, just over, so right in line with EPA ratings. And of course, I'll do a range chart at the end or let you know what my final numbers were from driving this thing around for a few days. Now, in those two spec trims on the advanced all-wheel drive, they're both in the performance, they're both dual motor. The difference is the power output. You have 314 horsepower for the advanced and combined at 429 horsepower for the performance, so a big jump there. There is that, of course, 10-second boost mode, which provides 483 horsepower. And if I talk about torque on the advanced, it's 446 pound-feet, and the same for the performance, but that boost mode for 10 seconds will give you around 516 foot-pounds of torque to really launch you into the stratosphere. Now, in addition to the boost mode, there's a drift mode. So if you want to really get funky and drift around, you can set that up so it will limit the slip and the traction control capabilities of the vehicle, and you can use that boost, throw it some extra power to the rear wheels and have some fun drifting around. Of course, it's got all kinds of electronics with that, and I'll talk about some of the ADAS systems later on, and I'll show the lane keeping and stuff when I do the driving. But a good suite of ADAS technology for this luxury, basically, CUV vehicle. It's fairly kitted out right from the get-go, so there's not many options you need to add there. Now for charging, it's quite easy. The charge port is on the passenger side. You just give that little lines a push and it pops open. You've got your CCS, of course, your J1772. Pop that out for the fast charging stuff. All the normal stuff that we've seen. And of course, lighted controls here to show what you want to do. And I just close it, so I'm going to open it up again. I thought that was a button to show you lights. But you have to be plugged in. So you have that. Now for charging capabilities, you can do up to 11 kilowatts of AC, which is pretty good. And that's exactly what I pulled when I plugged it into my charger at home, which I can pull 12 kilowatts on my Model 3. So it's right up there. And then it peaks over 200 kilowatts on the DC fast charging to give you that 10 to 80% charge in what Genesis and the other HMC brands claim in about 18 to 20 minutes, let's say 18 minutes. So if you look at the charging curves that are out there already for the Ioniq and the 5 and the EV6, is going to be identical pretty well to the Genesis, plus or minus a couple of points there. Should be fairly safe because they all are all on the same platform. Again, once you're done, to close this, just push the button and it closes down. Right, so before we go into the interior and explore that, let's talk about the cargo space and storage space. Start with the front. Let's see if there is a front trunk here. I pop the hood and open that up. So you will see a small, this is very similar to the other HMC products, a small area. Because this is an all-wheel drive, it is fairly shallow. It's only about 3 inches thick here and about 5 inches, let's say, thick here, deep here. It's got a little net to hold things on, an anti-slip pad. Not very big to hold much stuff, probably a couple of charge cords you could probably cram in there or something like that. You do have access to your 12 volt, which is nice to see here. Only really thing you're going to do here is just kind of check fluids and top up your windshield washer fluid over there. Not really much to do. So at least Genesis is giving you something. Otherwise, it's nicely kitted out and very simple. All right, so for a rear cargo spare area, we just pop the rear trunk. The lid, it is a hatchback. We can open it from the inside, open it from the key fob, and open it from a button here. It's got a pretty good boot space. Again, I like the lower lift over, so it's easy to put packages and bulk items in here, not having to lift it, you know, kind of too high past your waist, really. You don't want to lift stuff too. So that's pretty good. Not a lot of height in here because the rear glass does slope rake down quite dramatically. Does have a tonneau cover here, but a good amount of space. Genesis says that the space in here behind the second row is about 680 liters, and behind the first row with the seats down, you increase that to 1,550 liters. So certainly you can carry some stuff. It's got a couple of lights here for the trunk, so it's got nice well-lit area, a 12-volt back here as well. Then you do have this area under the trunk. It's not very much for putting anything extra. You have your charging cables here, you have a tire repair kit, that kind of road kit, you have some other goodies, and you have, of course, the vehicle to load plug, which I'm not really going to show you because I've showed that on, check out the Hyundai Ioniq 5 video, and I'll show you the vehicle to load where I actually boil a cup of some water for a cup of tea using the power from the vehicle, plugging something in. So it comes, the Genesis vehicles all come with that adapter. In some of the other HMC products, that's a charge, an additional accessory charge. So that's where you put all your accessories under here, so they're nicely tucked away. But you know, it's a good size for hauling some stuff around. Could you do a Costco run? You could. You'd have to put at least one seat down. With both seats down, you get a lot of stuff. So now that we've had a walk around the exterior, let's go inside and check out what it looks like there. Let's have a quick tour of the inside here. So we've got two displays and then an HVAC system. These are 12.3-inch displays, of course, similar to the Ioniq 5 and EV6. It's basically a lot of the same parts reused and just repositioned maybe a little bit, but two distinct displays, and then of course your HVAC setup. Now, driver's binnacle is nice. You got lots of information. You can change the looks of the screens. You can do different things here if you want to have driving info and different map modes and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into a lot of them because there is quite a lot. I typically will leave it at this mode so I can see my charge, power, and distance. And of course, you've got your range there and what efficiencies it's currently at this particular point. And then, of course, I have it on Eco and the Auto. All right, so here's the steering wheel. I had to close the door, put the air on because there's this big truck towing something with police escort, so making lots of noise. But anyway, and it's getting warm. But here's the steering wheel. Lots of different buttons for your adaptive cruise control, your lane spacing, lane keeping buttons, and different paging that you can do in some of those elements. Here's your drive modes, so you can switch your drive modes from comfort, sport, and eco. I've been leaving it on eco all the time, and you can, of course, create your own different buttons to do different things. Horn, of course. And then you have a favorite button that you can program here. You can, if you want to make a phone call, that kind of stuff, and answer phones, and volume control, mute. Then this is a little fingerprint button that you can touch sensitive. You can slide, push, and change some of the other screens that you can see different options. So there's quite a bit of options you can see on the driver's binnacle. Now, if we get to the home, the infotainment system, this is a kind of a default setting that it comes up with, and you can go into your home. One thing I like about Genesis is they've really done a nice, nice implementation of the informatics here and all the information in these kind of cards that you can scroll across on and pick different things. Nice and responsive, lots and lots of options. So I could spend probably an hour going through everything. Key elements here is EV, right? Looking at range. Here's where you'll see your range, distance, whether you turn climate off or on. You can set departure times, climate controls, all scheduled charging, your standard fare, folks. I had one person on the comments say, well, you know, people new to EVs really need to see this stuff, but the comment I'll make to that is just if you're not concerned about when to charge, just you want it to charge it every day, then plug it in and it will charge every day. That's the default setting. if you go in there and you can read and you can try to understand some of those departure times. So saying you want to leave at 7 in the morning and you want to have it at 80%, whatever it is, you set this up and it will do that. Or you want the cabin temperature to be 20 degrees when you leave at 7 in the morning. You can do all that kind of stuff. That's what that means. You can schedule charging and climate, and then you can, this is to show your EV charge transfer if you're doing your vehicle to load. Pretty straightforward stuff. There are some settings in here. Right now everything's set to 100% because this is a press vehicle, but normally we'd probably have this at probably 90%, something like that. I think that's the recommended is 90 for something like that. But I'll leave it to 100, and then you can of course change your currents if you want maximum. Most people leave it at maximum to pull battery condition. This is mainly for winter time. If you want to use some of the juice in the battery to help condition the battery, help heat it up, you can put that. Utility mode is if you're using to power the battery in the car to power a lot of electronic vehicles outside. You put that on. Smart regen is something I haven't really figured out, but if you have it into the smart auto regen mode, then it will use it'll moderate decelerate you faster or slower depending on what kind of spacing you want. So and again, you can use the paddles to set the regen, and then voice charging prompts. When you plug it in, it'll say now charging, that kind of stuff. So pretty straightforward for EV stuff. Maps is pretty nice. Gets a good view of here, and you can add different points if you want to go to Newmarket Hyundai, let's say. It's going to request, it's going to look at the routing and then tell me recommended or alternative. If I say that one, will start now. Then off we go. And it's a nice pleasant voice, your standard voice, and off you go to that. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get out of that now. Well, I have to see here. I have to cancel out of that if I can. You can project your phone, do voice manner, different setup as well. Lots of different setup things for the drivers of vehicle. All the assistant modes you can turn on, all the ADAS settings. There is a heads-up display. I have it off. I'm not a big fan of them, but you can turn it on, and you can adjust the brightness and what you see in there as well to some degree, some of the features. Different themes for the cluster, different color patterns, that kind of stuff. Welcome sound when you get in, does a nice sound. So there's lots and lots of stuff here that you can configure. User profiles as well, what you can do. I'm going to talk just a bit in a sec about that. It's got some voice recognition for commands. You'll have to figure that out. Displays, of course, it does have a nice illumination inside. You can change all kinds of different color patterns here to play with and things, and then your general stuff. Now, a couple things that are unique, right? Obviously, I talked about the crystal sphere at the top. So let's have a look at that. That's the thing that a lot of people are going ape about. And, it's a nice thing. I do like it. So when the car is on and active, you see that you have the ability to put this in park, and you can change the gears. Put your foot on the brake and the rotary dial, put it in reverse, in neutral, or in drive. Put it in park like that. That's what that does. When you shut the car off, that's when the crystal sphere shows up. And what that means, other than fancy light that'll be shining depending on your color pattern, is that the car is not ready to drive. You cannot drive away the car. You can't shift the gears. You can't do anything. When you turn the car on, you will see that flips, and then you're back to the park. So it's a really stern visual element and physical element to tell the driver that the car is in a drivable mode, that you can drive away. And that is kind of important. I want to stress that. I know somebody that was not aware that the car was on and actually got into an accident because of that. By touching the accelerator, not knowing the car was on, and these things have power. So I like that it has the ready, of course, on the dash and green and that kind of stuff. But this is just another, a physical reminder that the car is on and ready to be driven now. It tells you what gear it's in. So that's pretty cool. Now you can also access the menu with this scroll wheel button. And if I pan up a little bit here, just to show you that, then then we can look at that. So this just means I turn the wheel and then I can access that. You can push it in, use your finger for things. It's a bit of an iDrive ish BMW play. You can tilt it for different options. So it has the ability to do what you can do with your fingers here. That's what that's for. There are some quick buttons here with your volume tuning, some home and back and menu buttons as well if you want to do things from down here instead of reaching up. Now, one of the other key differentiators is the biometrics. Genesis has implemented a lot of biometrics, and that's what this is, a fingerprint scanner. Now, I don't have anything set up, but if I set up a driver profile, I can map in not only my fingerprint, but also my eyes. So here I can biometrically come in without the key fob, because I can open the car outside with my visual face recognition. Then I can come in here and use biomechanisms to activate the car into a driving mode and drive it away without the key fob. This is what they give you, without a phone app, without a key, anything like that. It's another layer of flexibility and ease of use for consumers that Genesis has put in here. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not sure how it's going to work in the long run. I haven't really heard any negative parts to that, so we'll have to wait and see, but that's pretty cool. Nice big cup holders. Then you have some of your standard features here we see on some of the other HMC products: seat coolers, seat warmers, steering wheel heater, auto hold if you're not using iPedal mode, parking cameras, I'll show you in the sec, park assist and all that kind of stuff. Charge phone holder here, so you can put that in, and your phone chargers, and then a little cubby for some storage here. So good amount of storage. I do like that it has that open floor under here, so you can put something down, and then you've got nice big storage down there with a 12 volt and a couple of USBs, one for charging and all that kind of stuff. One's probably for music as well. Now, another differentiator in the Genesis products is the glove box. It is not a traditional glove box, and I really like that. If I can just figure out how to open it. It's a drawer. Voila. I think that that's a cool feature. I don't know why more people don't do that, because every time you open your glove box, crap falls out of it, especially when you're driving. Here it doesn't. This is a really simple but neat design. You've got a manual, you got all kinds of stuff you can put in there. I think it's great. I think there's actually a cover you can get for this as well to cover it up. I don't know why, but I think that that's a great idea. So they have that storage, and then they have another little cubby storage here that pops down. If you can see that right down here, that pops down. Maybe put sunglasses or some change, or a phone if you want to hide something. Again, keep it out of people's view. Nice little touches that Genesis has to really up the ante here from their class, from being a more higher end luxury vehicle. Standard stuff up here, LED lights. You do have, of course, this glass roof. It does not open, but there is a shade for it. If I can just angle my camera appropriately here and get over there. And then if you want to close the shade, you just push that button and it pinches it down from the middle, so it closes. And it's a fairly thick fabric, almost like a suede leatherish type material. So it's not just a flimsy felt thing. It's fairly significant to block the light. And then you want the light back in, just flick the switch. Somehow I can flick the switch. There we go, the other way, and off it goes, and it opens. So a nice touch there to be able to close that, because now I have found that this sunblock is really good on this. It does really block the UV, and it helps for not allowing a lot of heat in. So they've done a good job there. Not much in the way of vanity mirrors. Everything's kind of standard here. I got a nice little light up top. Look at my mug here. I don't want to do that, and go from there. Now the mirrors are nice. It's got this dial. As you can pick which mirror, and then using the buttons to adjust it. If you want to fold them in, just press that and off they go. And then you press it out again and they come out. Really like that. Door handles are easy to use. All the buttons and knobs are easy to figure out and use. Very comfortable. Nice armrest. You got 2 memory seat selections here for 2 different drivers, so you can set up your steering wheel. It is a powered steering wheel, so powered tilt and telescoping, all powered settings. So once you figure it out, you can save it just by pressing that, and then it should say save to setting 1. So I saved everything that's on here. Pretty straightforward, right? There's that big boost button, which we'll talk about when we go for the driving, all that kind of stuff. So again, a nice environment here for the front passengers. One other little thing that's a differentiator is they have this thing here. My wife goes, "What is that, a speaker?" Because I feel air coming out of it when we have the HVAC on through the vents. I said, no, that's kind of like a diffuser. You could put some different fragrances in there, tea leaves or whatever. I don't know what you put in those things, and you could get make the car smell nice. Well, a new car smell all the time. So that's that. You just unscrew it, put it in, and put it back in. It's a neat little feature. I've never seen that before. I remember the days of the Bug where they had the little flower holder, which was different. So this is kind of similar to that. Nice Bang & Olufsen sound system. I forget how many hundreds of watts, but it's pretty strong and decent enough room. I'd like to see a little bit more room in the door cubbies, to be honest with you, but it will hold a water bottle and a coffee cup, and again, you got these nice big ones here. So all in all, a very nice cabin to be in. They've done a great job in this. We'll do it. Now, one thing I'll say here, because I'll probably mention in my driving aspect, is these are the paddles that you use to change the amount of regen. And as you can see there on the screen, it's at 3. I can go down to max with the iPedal. So when you go to max and hit it, its iPedal is on, or you can go down to level 3, level 2, level 1, 0, And I believe, I guess, I'm not sure how to get into the auto. I'll have to figure that out. But 0 would be coast, so no, and then slowly regen. So I've been driving an iPedal. Works the same as the other systems that we've tried on the EV6 and Ioniq 5. Very similar. A good system. These cars do have over-the-air updates, my understanding, and that will affect some of the features. So, you know, owners will be able to tell Genesis. And one last thing in this long segment of the interior is the HVAC. Pretty straightforward. I like that it's separate. I like that you have the manual controls. These are, again, quick buttons for a lot of the other controls. It's a soft touch screen if you want to turn it off, turn the fan on, AC, redirect it to different elements, that kind of stuff. You can do all that, so that's pretty cool. Passenger can do the same thing. I have it synced. You can put it in auto or change the temperatures down with the air on and the fan. Pretty straightforward, not a lot going on here. Of course, your defroster, and that's what I like. Keep it simple, folks. Don't make us go through too many buttons and menus to do something that we need to do a lot. Finally, a couple of stocks. So you have your stock with your turn signals and your driving. Most people leave it on auto for your headlights and that kind of package. And then your windshield wipers, standard fare, right? There is an auto setting and you can control the amount of auto, and then your mist and your low and high settings and spray, you know, all that stuff. So pretty straightforward, a very nice, appointed, nice use of materials. You know, these are nice quality, soft touch everywhere, nice quality materials. So, you know, as I mentioned, as you're hearing the price coming up when I talk about the pricing, it's not a cheap vehicle, but when you sit in it, touch, feel, play with it, drive it, you do get the sense that this is it's a very solidly built vehicle for one, and it's a very nice use of materials that are high quality and very pleasing to the consumer. Right, one thing I always like to show is how easy it is to get into the back seat of a car. So these doors open almost 90 degrees. I would say probably about 80 degrees. So a nice big opening here, even though it's a little bit smaller because of this raked hood in this section that they carve off. So you kind of have to duck under this, I can tell you that. But it does sit very high. So actually, that wasn't bad at all. There's lots of easy ways to get into here. Tons of leg room. I've got the seat where I would have it, and I'm about 5'7". A lot of nice appointments in here. Very nice back seat. I like, again, these, same as a Mercedes and others, these airline kind of map holders here. Nice plastic, not some flimsy netting or cloth that can rip. You've got a couple of USB-C ports and this weird kind of storage, just a little flimsy back here with netting. But the seats are very comfortable. Now, one thing these seats do is recline. It's a manual recline. You just have to find the mechanism. So I can go up really high, like here. That's almost straight up, or I can go way back. So my head's like over here. So that's quite a lot if I want to sleep. That's nice. And these are 60/40, so you can do that for each individual piece that you want. So I'll kind of set it for the middle and locks in. So that's pretty cool. Nice. This is the nice leather interior. So it's got all the upgraded, a nice armrest and everything, but just a very comfortable environment. Flat floor, so you could sit fifth person quite easily. Again, it's not the most width in a vehicle, so if you're going to bring a fifth, they're going to have to be skinny or in a pinch. It's one of those things. I wouldn't do it full time. I do like the fact that it has built-in cup holders. We tried this with some coffee carryout. It worked really well. Nicely appointed designs and buttons, the speakers. The sound system is very nice in here. You've got tinted windows, but you have shades as well. But the back seat is really a nice environment to be in. I like that you can put your feet way up under the seat. It is high, so you have lots of room to do that. And because of the flat floor, you can move things around. A good place to be on a long trip. They've done a great job here. One thing I forgot to show you is these seats here in the Genesis have the same, similar to the Ioniq as well, where Ioniq 5, where they have this comfort mode where you can press the button and it reclines the seats. Let's say if you're charging or something like that. There's also a massage function in these seats, so I'm actually lying back getting a bit of light massage, nothing too crazy. But as you can see, it lowers it quite a lot, so you recline quite a lot, and just here to rest and relax. It's actually quite relaxing. So if you're need to plug in for that 18 minutes, this is a nice way to spend some time to relax. So I hope you enjoyed all that information, especially about the displayed stuff, some of the controls. Now, we've had a look at the interior, the exterior. Time for a drive. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna give you some of my driving impressions here on this Genesis GV60, sorry. So many brands, so little time, folks. So I've been driving this around for a few days, and it is a very nice, relaxing, comfortable drive. There's lots of seat adjustments, all kinds of power settings, lumbar as well. You can have this relaxing seat, as you've seen in the Ioniq 5, where you can stretch right back, almost like a lounge chair if you're charging and want to do something like that. So it's got all those options. But as driving, it's nice. Got, you know, nice responsive steering here, good fat sticky tires, but that are still efficient. And it's a fairly quiet cockpit, as you can hear. Not a lot of wind noise coming in. The wind's picking up a bit, and I'm going on my favorite country road here. You know, very pleasant vehicle to drive. The suspension is nice. Not obviously as luxurious as a Mercedes was, of course. That's got air suspension and a luxury sedan, but this is very nice from a custom. I'm just crossing the line here because there's a truck in front of me, so I got to go around them. So, you know, but very adequate, handles the bumps really nice. Again, one thing that I like on the HMC products is that the turn signals has the blind spot that light up on the driver's binnacle, as you've seen in some other displays. So it's a nice feature when you change lanes, use your turn signals, you get the blind spot camera, the side camera lighting up or projecting that side and into the binnacle, so you can see, kind of like what Tesla did in a software update a while ago, but these guys had it first. So you got all your, as I mentioned, walking through the infotainment, all your information's easy to see at a glance, and lots of different ways to customize it with the HUD, of course. But from a driving, it's a very quiet, pleasant, comfortable vehicle to drive. Lots of nice appointments, so you feel luxurious in this vehicle. You know, with all these appointments, turns really nice. You'll see the turning circle coming up at the end. It's fairly easy enough to maneuver around into traffic, get up and go. So what I will do is I will try the boost mode here once we get up into the highway, so at least I can get up to 80, 90 kilometers an hour without breaking anything here. In fact, I can do that now, so let me see. I don't know if you have to be stopped. So it's in eco mode, and I'm going to put it in boost mode. I've got stuff in the back, so you may hear some rattling noise. Let's see what happens here. Put it in boost and fly it. Holy moly. Yeah, you get up and go. So it tells you on the display that you're boosting. It goes for about 10 seconds. You have all this power, and now the power just shut off. You could feel when it let that power go. So, and you know, one thing about the Genesis brand, they really are a high quality brand. No squeaks, no rattles, nothing shaking. Everything has been given some thought here in this vehicle as far as comfort and design, and just basically making the environment very nice for passengers and making you be able to drive in a safe manner. So, you know, my hat's off to Genesis for this. It's very capable and an excellent choice for anybody looking for an EV that wants a little bit of a crossover CUV hatchback and doesn't want a Tesla product or some others that are out there. So this is going to fit fairly nicely in that entry-level luxury SUV, CUV space from a pricing and from a amenities that you get in this vehicle and options that it comes with. So it's going to fit very nicely. So well done, a very nice car to drive, and I'm extremely pleased with Genesis and the GV60. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the driving elements as well. So what are these going to cost now? Now they'll be coming available later on this year in 2022 as they ramp up. Well, there's two versions coming to Canada, as I mentioned. There's the Advanced, which starts at an MSRP of $71,000 Canadian, and then what I have here, the Performance all-wheel drive version EV CUV, which MSRPs for $8,000 more at $79,000. Not really any options you can add to that. You can add some accessories, a whole whack of that, but as far as most of the options, wheels are standard, all that kind of stuff, it's really just more of the tech that's in there, and of course the performance side of it, where you'll get the bigger motors with more power in the boost mode, and that jacks that price up significantly by about that $8,000. Does not qualify for any of the federal incentives. I don't believe it qualifies for any of the provincial incentives, but check the province that you're in. Should qualify for the US Fed tax credit because this is brand new for Genesis and they're just getting into the gate. So they'll have about 200,000 units to sell before that runs out, unless the program changes, of course. So that's good news. So will be able to get some savings there.
Just quickly wanted to go over the range chart. I had the vehicle only for a few short days. So as you can see, I started with 100%, knocked it down to 70 over a few days. Did 129 actual kilometers, and the range projection showed 127. So it's a little conservative, but pretty well bang on. And again, just shows that the OEMs are much better on the range prediction and accuracies of their vehicles, of course, based on your driving habits as it learns. A decent efficiency for this time period of 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I would have liked to seen that a little lower, down into the 15s, 16s. However, I only had it for a few days. I did a mix of city and highway driving, and then the temperatures climbed up on us on the second and third day into the area where I needed to run the AC. So that's where you're going to see a lot of that energy used for the air conditioning system to keep the occupants cool.
So what's my final verdict on this? Well, absolutely, I'm going to give it a thumbs up, right? You guys know all electrics are great in my book. This has capable range, 400 kilometer range, decent efficiencies, very well-handled vehicle. Not too soft, not too hard, gives you a nice cushy ride, but you still feel the road. Good interior space, and I do love the design. Genesis knows how to design vehicles, that's for sure. They're really stepping up with that. A lot of multimedia and technology, as you saw there, and a lot of advanced safety features that come with this, including heads-up displays and things like that. So you can get a lot of stuff for that price point. It is a little more pricier than some of the other competitors in this market. It is less than a Model Y, I can tell you that, the base one anyway. And it's right up there with Model 3 base pricing or all-wheel drive pricing as well here in Canada. And I'm really impressed with what Genesis has done in taking that platform and making something their own. You know, we've seen some concepts and they hold true with some of the design language there. There is an app and all that stuff. I've got a screenshot here that talks about the app. There's a lot of different services, and one of the other shining stars for Genesis is they include a lot into their price point. So you get 5-year roadside. You get the standard, 8-year 160K battery warranty. You get 5 years of everything else warranty on this vehicle, including roadside assistance, including the connected services, including a home service offering, kind of like the Tesla Rangers, where they come out to your home and will do some work. Genesis is offering that. Of course, if you have to take it in for servicing, they will give you a loaner vehicle. That's all part of the maintenance package that's included in the price point of this vehicle. So now that price point becomes a little bit more attractive with a longer warranty and every all-in type of attitude. I think Genesis is really going to score some new customers because they've really been building quite the nice market share for them as they continue to elevate their brand into a field that's becoming very, very busy with the luxury type of SUVs and sedans and that, those crossover type vehicles. So well done on Genesis for doing that. Well, that's it for this edition of the EV Revolution Show. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this gorgeous brand new 2023 Genesis GV60. So stoked to be able to get this car. For a few days, I've had to wait a while. Thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that. If you are watching this on YouTube and you have not subscribed, please do that. It would mean a lot if you subscribe to this channel. And if you are supporting me on Patreon, as always, I'm very humbled by that. Thank you very much. If you haven't thought about it and you want a cup of coffee a month or something like that, put a couple bucks towards me on Patreon, I'd love that. So you can check out the link below and learn more about that. Again, keep your eyes on the EV landscape, lots of stuff going on. And I'm going to remind you again, I'm going down to Fully Charged Live San Diego. It's only in a couple of months now. I'll be down there mid-September, and I'll have a booth, and I'll be on a couple panels, so it should be a fun day. There's a coupon code here that you can see. If you want to get 15% off your ticket prices, use that coupon code. And please, as I mentioned on some of the last videos, if you're coming out there, please look me up, find me. I'll be there for a couple days. I'd love to talk to you, hear your stories, and answer questions. So until that, everybody continue to stay safe, continue to have a good summer, and until the next episode, I will see you when I see you. Take care and bye-bye.